Hello, everyone, and welcome back to what is most likely the final episode of my Deltarune Chapter 3 and Chapter 4 Let's Play. So, what this is we're playing the Weird Route. And I had to look it up beforehand, but there are changes that come in this route, but it's not as much of an immediate change as it is with Chapter 2's activation of it. So, from what I've heard, the changes in Chapter 3 mostly come in when you're acquiring the items for the Shadow Mantle fight, which makes sense because that one, even on the normal route, had mentions of Snowgrave and the Weird Route in Chapter 2. And all the big changes seem to come in Chapter 4, which makes sense because that's the one where Noelle is a focus, and it seems like the Weird Route is specifically focusing on Noelle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play through the chapter like normal. I'm going to pause recording, but when I get to the parts where I get the new items, I'm going to record. Going to record myself getting those and probably talking during that. But also there's a few secret things that have been discovered that I missed that I want to look at because that's also going to add to a later discussion video. And then when it gets to chapter 4, then that's when full steam goes full steam ahead. Also a note, I am playing on PS5, and I believe yesterday, Toby and the team dropped a hotfix for the PC version that affects a scene in Chapter 4. And I haven't seen the scene, but I know slightly what it is because people are talking about it. And after I see it, I'll give my thoughts on it, on why it might have been altered or removed. But yeah, right now the hotfixes haven't hit PS5 yet, or if they have, my game hasn't updated for it. Alright, see you in a second. Alright, folks, welcome back. We got an S rank, and during the first board, I did nothing but attack enemies and grow stronger. So, at the very least, even with, not sparing anyone, that could make, say, the night fight at the end more interesting. Because you do still, I believe you still do get the shadow. You do still get the shadow crystals from defeating Spamton because you just don't get a deal maker or the other weapon you get by being violent. Let's see here. Yeah, nothing new there, so we're going to go in this way. We're going to go in. I don't think there'll be any changes to the dialogue yet, but also just to make sure. Yeah, we still do have the silver watch, which is good. Good. And the shadow crystal, good. Which means that somehow I must. Hopefully that means we still have the thorn ring. I think naturally we should if we still have the silver watch, which is Noelle's. So yeah. Let's see here. Chris. My dressing room big shot. Cheers. How do you fancy the game then? Right, it ain't much in it, love. Now, I knew you wouldn't like it. I knew. So listen up. You see, a game you've been playing? It's not exactly the original. Old tennis done a little something here, a little something there. Make the whole adventure some big old blasted long for A to B. Primo, boring stuff. So I know Chris, and boy do I know Chris. That's what you want in it. Freedom. That's what you want, chum. Freedom. Well, if I can go hush-hush for a minute here. Chris, love, that's what we call backstage, the original game, where you decide what to do. Alright, enough explaining. More gaming. Go out for tenner. You go have some real fun, alright, love? There you go. I'm sure you know. What's secret to tenner, right, love? Act 1 schedule. Various names and times are written under it. Act 2 schedule is scroll underneath in red pen. But yeah, I believe we've got everything. And I can't remember if I maybe equipped the thorn ring to Rousey or Susie, possibly, because I though, if you kept it equipped to Noelle, then I think she keeps it. But I know that in the fuse shop, there's a chance to get the Twisted Sword. But we haven't gotten that yet, and there's going to be some event where Sham purifies our shadow crystals into a pure crystal, I believe. So I'm going to be talking a bit as much as I can during this. I realized looking back on all my old footage, I'm not talkative as much as you used to with other Let's Players where they're making 7 jokes a minute. I think it's just my brain work where my brain is so focused on one thing, like playing the game, that other functions like talking don't come to mind. Unlike when I'm watching a show with someone, then I'm more likely to make a comment. But also with Let's Play, there kind of comes the issue of when do you talk too much and when do you shut up? Because you don't want to talk over the important moments or miss an emotional moment. But also, you don't want to be too quiet, and then it just becomes, if you're quiet the whole way, then it just becomes a, long play. Nothing here. I do like how different things are when you get to these. And the implications that something, you don't know what yet, but something happened where things are different. Chris used to find a game like this important to them, but it's also with the art therapy room and the Forgotten Realm for the Eggman, where it keeps implying that something happened, but what that something is, it's so vague and so, I don't know. It's vague and ominous, and it's just making hints to things. And it just has you wonder what's next. With the egg rooms, again, like I've mentioned, the first 2 in Chapter 1 and 2, those kind of hint at something, but it's mostly just there's a man behind a tree and he gives you an egg. And you learn that eggs are important, but not something that you need to, I don't know, fully waste your time on. I think that's Toby trying to tell you that if you can't get them, then don't freak out just yet. You're not gonna lock yourself out of a true ending of life. But now with these new ones, I think they are still important, but more in a you're gonna get context for things kind of deal. Because again, art therapy and Chris being a doctor or seeing themselves as a possible doctor. Whereas Eggman Room 3 for this was kind of just him giving hints at where to find the other ones if you couldn't. Because this one actually, I say you need a guide, but I'd still say it's best if you looked it up, at least for the X thing. But it's also one of those things where it feels like it was made for those who kind of pay attention to everything and look at how it's more of a make you go, oh hey, that looks semi-familiar, where have I seen that before? I think the only thing you wouldn't get is the X, because it's so easy to forget. But also, team attacks in this are labeled as X attacks, so maybe that's it. But again, who knows? Bingo. Okay, where's the last spot I missed? Okay, let's see here. Let's see where it says. Become stronger. Yeah, I think very much this thing. You gotta hit at the weird route run in normal if you attacked Spamton. But again, that's also, he speaks nonsense, so it's easy to brush that off. But this very much is hinting at and is making you do a Snowgrave run. Let's see here. Became stronger. Stronger is interesting. Now, I can't say what this fully means because very much Deltarune and Undertale are working with themes on so many different levels. And of course, people are like, this route is what happens when you try to play, the game like you did Undertale, and it's like, you want to do that so bad, here's what happens. But also there's the level of, you know, an abusive relationship, and taking already what we have with Chris, which is, you know, very much a, I want to say, I don't know the right term for it. I feel like, I think parasitic relationship it's a very much a parasitic relationship at points. Sometimes it's more symbiotic, especially if you play it more pacifist and all your options are trying to be ones that help Chris. But I also think that it's parasitic, and it becomes so dangerous for them because they don't want this. So I like this part of you can break the trees, and I missed a secret because you can tell Deltarune is now, I'd say this chapter and chapter 4 with all the secrets, this makes it a full-on RPG. Because being on Twitter and seeing people go through this, there are so many moments and beats that I missed in my first playthrough that came from just because there's just so much to explore and see. In the Holiday House, there are so many, like, rooms and scenes you can miss if you don't look carefully. Like, there's a whole second scene with Asgore in front of, or in, I believe, Carol's bedroom. And that has some dangerous implications because he has an item that, while not a shadow crystal, I believe is the item, or is close to what the knight gets you. I think this is supposed to be a birdly reference, just because it is a blue bird. And again, it's not doing it, like, you don't get stronger by beating that. It's just there as a bonus. And, you know, the way you find this, the ice key is to explore. So, what happens when you, you know, explore other parts? And usually, I think it's just, they generate endless tree landscapes for you, just so you don't, you know. Yeah, so this happens. And I missed it, so I went in the wrong direction, so I don't think I can go back. Yeah, so I missed it, but, we missed the room where you go in, you go back to the room with the item, it says, it asks you having fun, with the shadow mantle, and if you do it on a wall that hugs the pyramid, and you go past the trees, you get another empty room, and after a while, you get image_friend showing up complete with laugh. So I think that thing is a big player in all of this. Like, there's a good chance that's the final secret boss. Now we got the ice key. It's the fact that you can't quit this. You don't get an out when you start it. Also, I didn't know this. This manhole, I thought this is a secret thing. But actually, if you suck ass enough at the boards, you get the Z rank, which gets you to another room, which gives you a lot of Spampton lore and a way to get back here without having the S rank. So you need to do your absolute best or your absolute worst. Chris, how was it? Lots of fun? You got a little extra taste of that, you know. Well, regardless, it almost came in. Gotta be extra careful next time. So, I believe that should be everything related to the first item of the S rank. But yeah, there's a lot more to see, but I'm going to keep getting stronger, and the changes come more near the end. But who, baby, you're going to want to see them. Here's another thing I missed. So, in the Lancer room, in the second world, when you get the shrine open, you can crawl through here. I don't think I did the first time. For some reason, I just Didn't think about it. Now we're taking all the... I keep my invention short-proof. Let's go, Susie. There we go. I'm covered in ill-gotten gains. He told me digital currency was secure. It's wild how much this man's relation to Spamton is just spelled out with you. So, I look forward to later this year, Spamton Sweepstakes 3, Teta Takeover, and we get to really see, who got what in the divorce. Here's another thing I didn't notice. You can interact with the conch shell. I just usually threw it. A cracked conch surrounded by washed up glass. Not a person seemed to want it. Listen to it. The sound of the ocean. A pity. It was just repeating all it knew. Again, I didn't think Spamton haunts the narrative of future Deltarune chapters would be a sentence. And yet here it is. I am honestly convinced there's still a chance he might be a final boss in the later chapters. Now here's another detail we found out that comes from just having knowledge of this game or exploring or playing multiple times. Because it's the same board as in the, you know, when you get the secret key and go to the Ice Palace. Supposedly there's a way. That's weird. There's something up here. A tree? Oh, you can't get there because you don't have a sword. But again, thinking about Ice Palace. Damn, what if there was something there? I don't know. Yeah, Ice Palace, Noelle got there. I feel kind of glad we're going back. What, don't like the cold? I guess not. Just cool thinking what might have been there. A little past what we could see. Are you scared? I just didn't know what was over there. We could have been trouble. Like, if Tena caught us? Well, we're headed back now, okay? Right, let's finish the game. The Snowgrave route is going to destroy these two. And I was originally hooked on the idea of Susie being the final boss, and there's still a chance of that in her theme being Megalovania. But now it's like, I don't know. But again, I'll see you again when we go back to get the girl in robes. Alright, welcome back. We're going to get to the Ice Palace. I don't think anything's going to change this time, but, you know, it's good to record, and also I can practice talking while gaming more. Ram is interesting because he knows a lot. He knows Chris made the fountain. He knows about Spamton, Jevil, and apparently all this came to be because one time Chris and Asriel brought a laptop and, like, cards from the school over to the house. And Ram was brought there because they're, like, a plug or I think, like, some kind of, like, power cable or something. I like that they care the most about Chris and want them to find a sense of freedom or break free and know about the original game and everything. They're fascinating. And when we get the Shadow Mantle and they help us there, they're gone. Like, yeah, they came to Stone, but they're gone. I don't know, they're just... He's fascinating to me. I don't think it's going to be like... He turns into something, but I wouldn't be surprised if, like, later you have to get a Shadow Crystal directly from him. But again, who knows what anything is, but how this story is going. And again, I like this part the most, and I like the Tenna Hellboard, because very much like this feels like, and I know like I'm not someone who's into like game development, so I don't know how the NES works or even color processors. Like I didn't know about like like here's an example of me not knowing anything about how graphics work, or like when Amy was added to Sonic Origins Plus. I swear this is going somewhere. People were complaining because her color palette used way more colors than what was, doable on an actual Genesis. So it kind of caused a bit of a desync for people in terms of, oh, this is just like she's always belonged here kind of deal. At least that's what I think caused it. I do like how it baits you into finding some of this stuff on the merit that it has, like, trees that you can't break. And again, if you somehow wound up at the Ice Palace before this, which I don't think you're supposed to even be able to do, it's like, huh, sure is weird that this place is blocking you from, it's weird that this place is blocking you from entering. And even Susie says, it sucks that there's no way to enter that your own. So it's very clearly, it wants you to go here. And again, this thing getting locked, soft-locked by story progression and, like, pointing out Ram turned to stone and everything. Like, it wants you to find this. I remember in the Undertale 5-year anniversary stream and the Deltarune playthrough that Toby Fox did with some of the guys from Fangamer, he mentioned how the Jevil Key quest was kind of a last-minute thing, so that's why it's kind of rushed. And that's why it was spammed in. It's a full-on story battle, and after that, with this, it's pointed out. And even, apparently, you get the Shadow Crystal from the Knight, since you only get the Shadow Mantles from the boss here. It's very clear Toby wants you to find that. Unlike with the egg, where it's more like, yeah, you're gonna get something for it, but it's also like, not many people are gonna be paying attention to this sort of thing on their first run. And again, I love the mood shift. I love the vibe of Chapter 4 and this moment in total is so good because it's such a different mood from the rest of Chapter 3. I mentioned this in my episode 0, but I love Toby's writing the most when it's ominous and foreboding or uneasy. Follow the white cloak. I also like this because it implies that, I think a lot of players on their first time are probably going to do good enough in the first board where they can get the S rank. Or, of course, they include the bribe in the front of the back of the green room. So there's always a chance that even if you didn't get it that time, you get it this time. You can still get here. Forbidden Path began with Ice Magic. So there's a lot, people are going to know what Snowgrave are. At this point, the secret's out of the bag. That ship is, everyone knows what that is now. But I like this. You can hurt the mage. I don't know if you have to do it to get them to follow you, but to get this started, you have to hurt the white rogues. I am so curious what's going to happen in Chapter 5. Because, again, those are very clearly, the trees that we're cutting through are very clearly the hometown trees. And those are very clearly the hometown trees, and the Chapter 5 applicable, not applicable page, for that, it had, it had a short loop of what I think was either Dessa's theme or Hometown's theme played on a guitar. So very much that plays into it. It is even how the sounds we get during the Spamton Sweepstakes Round 2 were meant to give us hints on what to expect. Even just sounds. That is very much, I think, meant to be birdly. A blue bird blocks your path, and the only way you get to continue is to freeze it. Yeah, this one got me at first, but now it's a real... Oh, huh, I never thought about it that way. Let's see here. Chapter 5 coming out in 2026 is, like, amazing to me. Like, right now, Toby and the team, you know, they're doing hot fixes for this game and might add some stuff. I think the only big change they might add is, like, add another, like, a group heal spell or something during the night encounter. And even then, who knows, because the knight is clearly meant to be a challenging, overwhelming boss, but you get the shadow crystal from it. And you need the shadow crystals to go on in this story. So, I don't know, if they want you to get that stuff, then... And there's also going to be people like... It's the... Like... I think it might be an accessibility thing, but it's probably not, but I can't see any... Like, there are parts where, like, it happens faster than my brain reacts, so... Who knows? But, okay, so we continue on... The door. The door is locked. The ice key was used up. She was used up. Now, I don't know if that means what happened in Chapter 2 or hinting at future events. Because this game, because it was originally developed with Chapters 3, 4, and 5 to be released all at once, it hints at what happens in Chapter 5. Like during the Gerson fight, he mentions the field of pink and gold. Pink and gold keeps showing up in this game. I think next chapter is when we realize what the hell Mike/friend is. Well done. You found my secret hiding place. But there's nothing here. Is there? Again, Chris seems to be in a lot of spots where darkness takes hold. You got the shelter key. Oh, you found that too. Perfect. Just perfect. Thanks for all your hard work, Chris. You were used up. This does not bode well for how things are going to end. And I like how Chris reacts here. Like, Chris does... It's so easy for people, like, stupid people, but people to still say, Chris is meant to represent, like, a blank slate that you can put any character onto. And that's not true. It's very clear that Chris is their own person. Frick is a blank... You can make that argument for Frisk, but I've seen people that point out they do have a personality. They do have their own motives and wants. It's just that it's kind of easy to imprint on you're the one saying these things, so that at the end when they say their own name, that's the big reveal. But Chris is a kid who's just always existed. They've always been here in Hometown. They've had a life. They've been a naughty kid, but they've also been playing the piano. They've been empathetic. They've been scared of change, and the loss of Des and everything has hit them too. They have some kind of strange relationship with Mayor Holiday Carol, but who knows, right? Chris, how are the games? Just to your liking? What? Someone backstage with you? No, Chris, I was back here on security the whole time. Dan's really starting to stick that nose of his around, though. Sorry, but I think we're going to have to make the next one the last one. So, see you in a second. Alright, I'm recording again just to show, in case I don't want to edit the other videos because I recorded 2 quick ones. But we're in the gumball room, and I believe you can do this at any time, but we did it after everything and we got a buttload of points. But here's what happens when you put in 1225 into the gumball machine. You're all alone. It's just you. And it's kind of like, the way I say this, Blue, is it's like when you got to a no signal or no source detected screen on your TV. And the way it just slowly fades to black and fades out. And now you're here. For those that were investigating the Spampton sweepstakes, this page, the music playing, is labeled Find Her. And what's fascinating to me is that, you're allowed to go off bounds and kind of wander wherever. Also, another thing, I'm a level 3 Ice Blazer, and I'm going to take that as meaning we've done everything right, especially in the Snowgrave route. But when I first got this, people were like, hey, here's a fun thing, put in 1225 into the console. Or into the gumball machine. It's like, wonder what that could be. And then it's this. It's haunting, honestly. It takes a bit, and you might be lost here, and you might want to reset, but there is a way out. But that's what's interesting to me, is that this is a pathway. It's like endless girders. Endless paths leading to somewhere. If I follow the right one, it leads you here. To another gumball machine. Empty. You used the machine. The capsule came out. Inside was something hard, like liqueur. It was a small, dark triangle. You tried to take it, but it slipped through your hand. And you couldn't find it anymore. You couldn't find your hand. Now, a lot of people think that it means that, that's a guitar pick and it slipped through Chris's hand. So there was a moment where when Des went missing, Chris tried to help, but it couldn't. Des slipped through their hand. But I also see it as, and I've seen some people say this, what if it's Gaster leaving Des alone? Like, this is the void Des was first left in. And that's their body literally falling apart. Because when I think of fall through the hand, I think of a hole. And holes through the hand are prevalent in 2 people so far. The Knight, who very much is looking to be Des, and Mystery Man, who we assume is Gaster. And, of course, the secret code talk that can be found in the PC version continued in this. And it very much reads like someone being lost in eternal darkness and losing their mind. So, I don't know. Anything. I'm going to do a story discussion and theory discussion video after all these last few parts are done. And we'll kind of bring up a lot of things there. So, yeah. So, in the meantime, let's get that Shadow Mantle. It's also the fact that you can't use the gumball machine again. You can't, you put that in, that gotcha is gone. I have a theory. This is a crack theory, and we have no idea how far Chapter 5 development is. I feel like the next newsletter that we're going to get for, summer is going to be just talking about the development of Chapters 3 and 4, updates, some new art and interviews and stuff Toby's doing, and maybe a few new pages on the Spampton Sweepstakes website. Who knows? But this year is Undertale's 10th anniversary, and we're probably going to get something big for that, so maybe another concert. But if we get another Dad's Play, I wouldn't be surprised. And again, I have no idea how far Chapter 5 is in development, because Chapters 3, 4, and 5 are all being worked on at the same time, and it reads out through the game. But because that's being pushed back, and because Toby's talked about how game development, making things for all consoles, because you're developing for the PC, the PS4, the Switch, and he has to build achievements, and you also have to make sure you do bug testing and make sure everything works on each console, and also there's the Japanese translation and localization. You have to make sure that version of everything works, and there's no glitches there. But I want to believe that if things go well, and again, who knows, we could see Chapter 5, dropping on Christmas of this year. Because that number, 1225, is a very important number. Anyways, let's keep going. Someone behind the curtain. For some reason you feel like you're concerned, but then I'm wondering who this is, because you get a weapon from them, and you get all sorts of things, but they're hidden. So, who knows, right? It's all TV slop. Chris, that's you, isn't it, love? Good show, good show. Then it's been up to this and that, all sorts of boring stuff. Chris, oh Chris, you and I know the real drama happens backstage. That's why I got it ready for you, you know? One last game, and I'll keep watch. Well, just as long as I can. Now, Chris, I hate to trouble you, I really do, but see, I can't really move myself now. You could just shove me out of the way. Yes, that's right, just like that. Who are you? Why are you so important? Why do you view Chris as important? Enjoy the games, eh, love? Chris, I'm an ignorant plug. Can't say I know your motivation, but I saw you make it, you know? The fountain. Could it be you just wanted to have fun again? Some real fun, just like the old days. That's been my purpose, you know? Letting you play your games. Now that the games are almost over. Makes you think, was it really all such a good idea? Your mother. Poor mother, what will happen if she wakes up? Oh, what am I doing? A power strip, giving you a lecture. Just play your games, love. So they're a power strip. And again, a power strip means, so maybe it's because they gave power to the laptop, to the TV, somehow to the cards. But we also know from the egg room from this chapter that Chris would edit cards or dice or whatever they are to cheat at games with them. So who knows? Maybe Chris likes electronic poker. Here we go again. Genuinely, this boss is kind of easy if you know what you're doing. I don't, but the mood and atmosphere of it, oh, it's so good. A single cactus and it can hurt you. Now, I've been here before, so I know what to expect, but again, apparently, if you play the big TV before exiting out the Tenna, it gives you another room where you explore both your house and this kind of city-like area. And it has to mean something, but what that something means, I don't know quite yet. And again, this is meant to be hinting at things in the weird route and like the Snowgrave route. But what exactly, I can't say. Like, because the implications for this, what's happening right now, is that at some point, we will make Chris do this. And Chris looks aside during that. Chris doesn't like it. This is not fun for them. But still, and again, a single golden cactus. What that means, I don't know. In a single, like a golden city, a bridge overlooking a city. That's not TV Town, this world that we're in, as far as I know. And again, this is a full map. I don't think anything like this appears again in the game. So I feel like this is hinting at a future area we might be at, or something. But of course, we have to get stronger. Getting stronger is what's important here. So we keep going. We keep going. Also, if there's no changes here, I apologize, but I've heard that's what changes during this part on the Snowgrave run. And the fact that I have, the Shadow Crystal, but no Spamton, that tells you what you need to know. Keep going. Again, the golden trees from our town, that only forebodes trouble to me. And again, the golden flower. I think we're going to see a version of Flowey in a future chapter, because it keeps popping up, and it's very intentional, because like every Undertale callback in here is intentional. Toby made both games, and he knows, and he doesn't want to compare to Undertale, but it's still like he does this on purpose. This isn't like accidental. This isn't like, oh, haha, I didn't mean for that. It's more like we want to see the parallels. Now, I'm just curious if like all these monsters are meant to represent something, or it's more just like, I don't even know. I don't know. It could be, because these are monsters. Again, these are monsters that don't appear elsewhere, and this is like from the original game. Again, like Azram says. So now we control someone else, and we make us kill them. But again, Ram mentions this is the original game, so I'm guessing these are monsters from whatever original game Chris played. What's also interesting is this town in general is very video game focused. Like, it's not like everyone doesn't know what video games are. Everyone knows, and everyone knows what Dragon Blazers is. Everyone knows what Cat Petters is, that kind of thing. I don't know, there's just so many interesting ideas clearly being presented here, and that's why this route is so interesting to me in seeing what comes next, especially in Chapter 5. Honestly, this is gonna sound weird, but I honestly had the theory that after you beat Chapter 4, there was like the slight chance that you'd unlock Chapter 5 and it'd be a big surprise for everyone. But, you know, that's not the case. Chapter 5 will be ready when it's ready, but I do think at some point or another, a game will come out on the 25th. I think that just there's like too much chance for that to... I don't know, to me that just makes too much sense. That just makes... I don't know, maybe I'm theorizing for this is like very much like a lot of... You feel like you're talking out of your ass and kind of just guessing. But again, it's also like... That's kind of the point, isn't it? You guess. And Toby likes us guessing. That's what keeps a game alive, is... And this is a game that's meant to be... This isn't like a one and done where you get it done, you discuss it, and the themes and symbolism, and that's it. No, this is clearly meant to have more. This is meant to be theorized. This is meant to be slipped over. Like, with the mic fight at the end, you got, like, you look at the, you got the look at the board, and you don't like looking at it, kind of thing. But also, people point out that this might be more of, not a thing about, like, fan theories or anything, but more like, I don't know, relation to deaths. Because, as we've seen multiple times, I didn't see it because I didn't get to the bedroom in the holiday house, but when I looked through at Asgore's shop, I tried using the back door again, but I couldn't. But it meant you can look through, and you see that he's got a corkboard in his house, and in the holiday house, Mayor Holiday has one of her own. So very clearly, I think this is very much with the arguments and everything going on, I think this is very much a they had arguments over Asgore just being so devoted to finding Des. And I get why, because that's one of his friends. That's like a friend of the family. That's family themselves. It's tore him apart. And it still haunts him, and it eats away at him. But anyways, let's keep going. How did things turn out like this? Keeping poor Toriel all locked up. If only he hadn't abandoned me, my old partner. I was gonna put him on TV, make him a star. I gave him everything I had, my life advice. All he had to do was tell me what his little secret was. His secret to being a big shot. Took a little sweet talk, but just when I had finally gotten him to sign the deal, he suddenly had to take a phone call. When he picked it up, his face turned pale, and he ran right out of the room with the receiver hanging. So I went to pick it up, thinking it was finally my chance to be a big shot. But there was nobody there. So I wonder if this is the same day the Blue Addison went to see him. Because, or maybe Tennant just left the receiver hanging and stormed off. Also, in the Z room, you can see, if you get Z rank, you get a special Z room. And it has broken posters that imply that it was photos of Tennant and Spamton. But you also get a, I believe, disconnected black phone hanging. And I believe that's the same one that he picked up. That little freak ripped me off. I wish they never brought that laptop home. Chris, I didn't see you there. I did what you said, Chris. Just like our deal. You aren't going to turn me off again, are you? So that at least implies at some point Chris did this, and they wanted their mom. They wanted Toriel captured, but I don't know. Again, the bunker. It's a matter of we know what the code is. And again, Chris doesn't... I didn't notice, you can see the head motions. Chris doesn't want us in there. They don't like what's in there. They know how to get in there. And I'm going to say it, the phone call is the mayor. It's Carol. Because she showed up after the voice on the phone said they'll be right there. So they don't want Susie to know the code. They don't want Susie in the bunker. I don't think it's Gaster, and I think it still might be, but also, who knows, right? Chris. Oh, Chris. Is it fun, Chris? Playing around like this? That's why you're searching for them, aren't you? The shadow crystals. The shadow mantle that I'm holding. You honestly think it'll get you what you want? No. Part of you is just enjoying this, isn't it? The same part of you that enjoyed yesterday. Oh yeah. I think this is Snowgrave's dialogue. Knowing you could say it wasn't really you. Oh, don't make that sour face. I can see it in the dark, you know. The question is, can you? I am just surprised it didn't say you can never defeat us. I apologize in advance for dying a lot to this boss. This is kind of a... It's more diagonal just because the... Like, again, like that. The room is very clearly designed to be tight, and split-second decisions when you're... It's kind of a risk versus reward where do you want to go in and make the attacks, when you, but you have the risk of, you know, it going for the shield and all around. I think if you just take your time with this one... Like, that's the same sound played from the website. And it bounces around in the dark. Seeing these things... What are you? What's your goal, man? What do you want? What do you want? What are you getting from this? Because you are what happens when we go darker than dark. Pink and gold. That's always what you... I love this because it's a nightmare. I like this boss because it feels like a nightmare. It feels like you don't know what's happening. And it's meant to disorient you, and it's meant to make you feel uncomfortable, and you hate it. And you hate this damn cat, and it's just coming up and it's mocking you. It mocks you. It's what happens when we go fully dark. What happens when you go fully dark and when you... I got too cocky. You go off invincibility frames and you're gonna die. But again, the cat is meant to mock you. And it's friend to someone, but it also doesn't like you. Because this is the worst case scenario of what happens when we get darker than dark. This thing, that thing shows up. And during the cat mic fight, it's got the yellow and gold, the pink and gold eyes. So it's clearly meant to be something. I think it's the fact that we also don't have a name for this thing that makes me terrified. Like, this could be anything. It could be anything or anyone. Like, I am half expecting Sham to open up their face and eyes at the end. And it's the cat. I am so ready for that. Hell, it could be Caddy's family for all we know. How do you lose that arm? How did Mr. Tink lose his arm? The war? Like, yeah, my best strategy is when it's doing this attack, go for the bottom, that gives you more. Yeah. I hate this laugh because it's so effectively creepy. It's like, this is a terrifying monster you're up against. And I think people have said that it might be the boss of Chapter 5, and I could see it. And I could see it. There we go. We got it. We got the Shadow Mantle. There. That's what I wanted to see. Flickering red like pretty little flames. Your eyes can't hide it, Chris. Without play, the knife grows dull. Well, enough of that. We both have work to do. So if you want this mantle, hurry up and take it. If you can reach it. I was so expecting to say, you can never defeat us. Let's rumble. But again, it's Haunting Chris, and the spoilers I've seen about the Snowgrave route, Chris is interesting. Because I don't think they want this, and they clearly hate what's going on. This part freaks me out. Like, if you also note this, if you do this, then you cannot get the egg or go back for all their old challenges, because Chris is no longer in the game. So, what's the point of playing? So I'd say if you want to get the egg and do the shadow mantle, get the egg first and then do it, because otherwise you're soft locked out of one or the other. I like this. They're terrified. This strange thing is approaching. And here's something I didn't know, and you don't even think of doing, but it leaves on its own. You go in, you open the treasure chest. Inside was a shadow mantle. Shadow mantle was added to your armors. Hey, Chris! What the hell are you doing? You gonna try hard all by yourself? You seriously enjoy this? I didn't know this. You hold left. This thing shows up. This is fascinating. Chris, what are you... Alright, I get it. Well, if you really want to. Go ahead. I tasted your shampoo in your bathroom. Here, you can taste mine. What? How am I the weird one here? Jeez. Anyway, here, stole you a drink. Now stop making us wait already. Alright, well, I believe that was the extent of the weird root stuff in chapter 3. I'm going to pause and see if I can fight the knight. And if I do, I'll continue from there and show the ending to that. But if not, then I'm going to stop recording and I will see you in the next part where we see what happens with Noelle in chapter 4. Here's a new detail, and I don't know if it changed earlier or if it changed after this, but level 3 sheath. Breath quickens around swords.